The MSD coil packs here will be for the 2005 to 2010 3-valve GT owners out there who are looking to replace a faulty set of stockers with something aftermarket and something from one of the most trusted names in ignition. Now the MSD options shown here will come in a set of 8, will feature that blue finish, all for right around that mid $200 price point. Site's gonna call this one a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter here, which I think is a tad much since these are pretty cut and dry, but either way, figure an hour or less to complete from start to finish, as we'll show you guys in a little bit. So one big thing I do wanna point out before we go any further with this video, and that is moving to a coil like the MSD here isn't traditionally going to yield any extra power gains, and if it does, typically it's because the coils you are replacing were faulty and not allowing the car to perform at its peak levels. Now that's not to say there aren't any benefits to installing something like this, but I don't want to stand up here and mislead you guys into thinking something like this is going to lead to big power gains or anything like that. So with that said, the MSD coils here will help smooth out the idle and revs, barring good plugs of course, and will help clear up any high RPM misfires and possibly even improve some gas mileage, again depending on how bad a shape your old coils were in. Now MSD claims all of this will be made possible thanks to the increased voltage or output over the factory coils that you will be replacing, and in turn you will see some of those benefits again, smoother idle, smoother revs, maybe a little bit more mileage, but nothing terribly crazy. And if you guys didn't know, this is what MSD does best, right? They produced high quality ignition systems and components for well over 40 years now, and is honestly one of the most common names or brands you'll see around any racetrack here or around the world. Now MSD is going to build these 3-valve coils using their patented primary and secondary winding technique, and will also feature the factory style female socket coil wire design, which essentially make these a plug and play simple swap on any GT. Finally, the cherry on top, I guess you could say, or blueberry in this case, will be the blue finish on the actual coil bodies themselves, which will be visible under the hood, making for a small little bump in appearance aside from the bump in spark. But what do you say we stop talking and show you guys what it takes to get these MSD coils installed on your own 3-valve at home? So with that said, here is a detailed walkthrough that we promised you, in addition to a quick little tool breakdown.
Tools required for this job: 1/4-inch drive, 7mm socket, and a long extension. All right, to get started, we want our hood up and secured. We have a 7mm socket on an extension with a 1/4-inch drive. Let's get over here and start on our driver's side. What we're gonna do here is disconnect our coil from the harness here. There's a little tab, push that back and pull up. Then we're gonna take our 7mm socket. There is one bolt holding that in. Let's remove that. All right, remember to save this hardware. We're gonna be reusing it for our MSD coil packs. And then for the coil itself, we're just gonna pull it straight back. All right, now we're gonna bring our MSD coil pack in here, put it in the hole, make sure it's sitting on top of that spark plug and just press down firmly. And we can start our hardware. We are gonna reuse that 7mm hardware. I'm just gonna start it and then finish it up with my socket. All right, now we can replug that in, move on to the rest of the 7. All right, that's gonna wrap up the driver's side. Let's move over to the passenger. All right, that's gonna wrap up my install of these MSD coil packs in blue for this 3-valve Mustang. And for all things Mustang, keep it here at AmericanMuscle.com.